people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PTN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV. Lots of cool people. Tune in. Keep it locked.
I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots, the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms. Fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave till the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't awake. My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you...
Welcome, you guys, to the 99th episode of the Cowboys and Indians podcast. Today, we have an amazing, set of guests, really. But I'm your host, Native Patriot. Of course, with me today is my co-host, Steve. How you doing today, Steve?
Dude, I am fantastic, my friend. And some kind of relatively breaking news has come up over the last couple hours. I don't know if you've noticed, but Nick Shirley put out another video on Minnesota fraud. I haven't even watched it yet. I've been so busy. And apparently there's fighter jets that are scrambling above Iraq right now. So I don't know, man. Things are getting spicy. There's talk about Iranian influence. I'm not sure yet, but.
Well, yeah, and I also heard Chinese planes have been headed over to Iran as well. But a lot of this is just speculation. There was an account created on Polymarket actually that put into I think $160,000 that they're going to bomb Iran tonight. So,
man, those are the ones that are like, man, he could like really hit it big. Like he put that much money. I don't even know what the odds are, but he could be like an instant millionaire. Now, probably somebody that has 160 grand is already a millionaire. So it's kind of like just making more money.
Well, yeah, and also I would imagine that he wouldn't do it just based on a hunch. It would probably be more like he has some kind of inside information. So it's likely that he knows something that we don't.
Got a little heads up.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining. If you can, please share the stream tonight. We are going to be talking with Glenn Baker, who is obviously a host on the Patriots Prayer Network. He's a country artist, been traveling the country for years, a veteran of this country. And with him tonight, we actually have Craig the Sawman Sawyer. I don't know if you guys have heard of this name. He put out a documentary back in 2019 or 2020 called ContraLand. He runs Veterans for Child Rescue. He is one of the elite of the elite, and he's now spends his time going out and catching the bad guys, right? I mean, that's probably the most simplest way to put it.
So excited for this one.
Everybody wants to see justice for child trafficking, and I mean, a lot of what we've seen exposed over the past couple of years, and Craig Sawyer is one of the men going out there, boots on the ground, and getting it done, and actually putting in the work behind the scenes. Not just, I'm a little guilty of this, but complaining about it on Twitter. It is what it is.
Right. He's a man that he talks the talk, and he also walks the walk. Right.
He absolutely does. So without further ado, you guys, please share this show. This is going to be a good one. I'm going to bring up our guests here. Glenn Baker here on the bottom left, and then, of course, Craig the Sawman Sawyer.
What's up, gentlemen? What's up? Uncle Tonto and Steve.
If you guys don't know, I do go by Uncle Tonto, since I'm a very patriotic person.
Yes, of course.
You know, they couldn't call me an Uncle Tom, so they called me an Uncle Tonto, and I kind of like it. So
I think it's sexy. I think it's sexy as socks on a rooster, just like you, Maurice.
Should I share what my pseudonym is, Uncle Tonto, or no?
Do it.
Is it too risque?
No, do it.
Last name Power, first name Wyatt. I'll just say that. I'm just kidding.
Very triggering.
Together.
Oh man.
Oh,
Love you guys.
Craig,
Well,
the
good to be on with
Sawman
you guys.
Sawyer.
Yeah. Thanks for including me tonight, guys. Pleasure.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm really excited about this one. You've had, a fascinating life. If you can, really quick, if you just want to give the notes of your life, I know that it's been a very interesting one so far. So, please let the audience know who you are.
Yeah, I'm a Southern Texas boy. Grew up son of a pastor there. Really sincere man of God. Saw all kinds of beautiful things there, and went off into the Marine Corps, SEAL Team 1, and got recruited up to DevGru and spent the rest of my SEAL Team career there. And afterward, did 5 years of federal law enforcement as an air marshal and air marshal manager, and then did 10 years of high threat mobile security for the Department of State and the intelligence community. Wow. And while I was trying to start being home more to raise my kids, I started doing film and television, and I was on all 5 seasons of History Channel's Top Shot, and I was on Gunning Time with Arlie Ermy, and History Channel's Deadliest Tech, Spec Ops, and Sniper Deadliest Missions, and a lot of those firearms-related competition and history shows, and really enjoyed that. And I ran a team over in Africa called Rhino Wars for Animal Planet series of counter-poaching operations, and all that. You know, I learned how to use media to really fight back. And that's what really was the genesis of my concept of how to start Veterans for Child Rescue. And so we can talk all about that in a minute. But that's kind of been the journey of what caused me to found this org and get started. So it's been a wild ride.
Wow, that's crazy. First, I want to say thank you for your service multiple times, because you served your country in numerous facets, right? And you're, in my opinion, you're still continuing to serve your country to rid this this planet of the evil corporation, essentially, which is child trafficking. So I commend you for being a man that, you know, not only talks the talk, but walks the walk. And so thank you for joining us.
Thank you, brother.
Very extensive background. I'm just an Army guy, and you know, and just seeing you, like you really put yourself out there and done a lot of tremendous things. In your opinion, what was like your greatest accomplishment throughout this whole process?
Man, I tell you what, when I think bringing my daughter into this fight, and I can't even take credit for that. My daughter was abducted and violently sexually assaulted and deeply traumatized. And she's on our team now. She's one of our lead chatters. Well, she's the lead chatter. And a chatter means somebody that talks to the predators online. They believe that she's a child, and they come to try to arrest her, and they end up in prison instead. So through her trauma and through her deciding she wanted to fight back, she told me she wanted to be involved in our operations. And I was like, no. Are you kidding me? You're my precious little princess. You're not going anywhere near predators ever again. You know, one got a hold of you. That's enough for me for a lifetime. And she's like, well, I'm going to do this. And I said, well, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it with your papa, or I'm right there armed and covering you and within arm's reach. And I'm going to make sure it's right. She goes, yeah, I like, good answer, papa.
Yeah.
And so really, when I do a lot of public speaking, and when I go places and I see people, first of all, it's touching to me, because I feel like with all the censorship and the shadow banning and everything online, I feel like I'm almost like Grandpa Simpson yelling at the sky and nobody's hearing me, but I'll see whole groups of people with Vets for Child Rescue merch on, You know, they're like, hey, it's working. We're here. We're getting the word out. As people are aware, keep going. And God's blessing it. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But I really think when they say that, tell your daughter she's our hero, our daughter or our son is finding their voice because they saw your daughter fight back in ContraLand and in her interviews, and they're learning about your operations and it's empowering and it's healing for them. I'm like, my gosh, how many people are seeing our little princess fight back and gaining power and encouragement and inspiration and even healing. That's not anything I thought it was in my future as a warrior once upon a time. And I feel like that's the stuff that matters, man. Steve, you gave me a lot of credit. I appreciate all the kind words. I think so much of what I did really doesn't matter now. I mean, I did other stuff too. I was a motocross and supercross racing champion on the local level in Vegas. And I did stuff that it's what I wanted to do. But this now, going against the worst evil I can identify and directly disrupting it and interfering with it. And in that process, preserving and sparing countless children from it feels like the only thing the biggest thing that matters that I've ever done. And to have all my family now standing next to me, because one at a time over the years, I've been doing this for 8 years, they would step in and say, hey, Papa, I'm sick of seeing you get stabbed in the back and smeared and betrayed. I'm standing with you. And I'm like, huh? My son, my daughter, my wife, they're like, we know your heart. We're standing with you. And I'm like, oh, man. Some things money can't buy, right?
Right.
Never asked them to come help me, but they are. And that's what have I done that I'm most proud of, that I think matters most? Probably lead them to show them what a right fighter is. What someone who looks at evil and instead of cowering and shying away and taking the handout or the bribe or in cowardice, turning away from that which is uncomfy, staring at it and saying no to that, whatever that filth is, no. And I'm going to encourage others to say no. And together we're going to turn a whole country around if I have my way, even if it hair lips every cow in Texas. I'm going to rally people to stand up and say no to this filth. What are we thinking allowing this at industrial scale in our home? It's a friend of mine from the CIA that told me, we were in Spring, Texas, and he said, Craig, the north area of Harris County is the hottest area of child sex trafficking in the country. I'm like, how is that so? I grew up in church, and all my buddies in the football team, they were good dudes, man. We love America. We don't love child torture. So how is that happening here in our culture? And that's when I realized, guys, child trafficking is a covert operation run domestically here in the U.S. at industrial scale. And you can do the math and figure out what it means that it's being allowed to run at industrial scale here. Now, I celebrate the arrests that we do see, but I know the might of the United States and the will and the power that we have when we want to. And compared to the scale of child trafficking here, we're not even dabbling at a solution. So it's being allowed. There are corridors even on the border that are allowed for the cartel to continue using. There's a lot of stuff that the citizens aren't being told that would cause us to go, wait a minute. If the people in D.C. are serving us in good faith, these things wouldn't be allowed anymore. Steve, you and I know, and Glenn, what, and Brother Tonto, I don't know what your military service may be, but we've all seen the United States can draw a square in the desert anywhere on earth and dominate and control what happens there.
Yep.
We've witnessed that. Sometimes it's pretty, sometimes it's not, but the will gets asserted and that gets carried out. We're not doing that here for our children. So what are we doing? Anyway, that's my opening argument, if you will.
Dude, you just named some new superpowers that I never really thought about. Is integrity plus action equals V4CR, my friend.
Well, it's a process, man. It is war, guys. You know, the more truth we put out there, the more it's shadow banned and the accounts are deleted, and the more creepy weirdos come out with theories and accusations to smear us like they do in the political realm. Sawman works for Hillary. I'm like, wow, that's rich. And that one's just one guy who happens to be a pedophile, has published that repeatedly, and people don't vet their sources. So they're like, oh, you seem like nice guy, Craig, and you're arresting a lot of pedophiles, but I'm not going to support you because you work for Hillary. I'm like, but that's not real. That's not true.
I told you on that. Do you remember? I told you on that about a month ago.
I have a few follow-ups to this. So initially you said North Harris County. Are you speaking of Colony Ridge, Greg?
Well, no, just the generality of that area. There's just a lot. There's a lot of money there.
Right.
You got several highways that go east and west, north and south. You got a port there, so it's just it logistically it's sadly a beneficial strategic location,
right,
for that type of harm on the little ones. God help us.
Some of the I guess recent news that could kind of segue from what you're talking about how you worked for Hillary would be Dan Bongino and how he left, as deputy director of the FBI. But what people don't want to give him credit for is the criminals, the sex traffickers that the FBI has arrested since he's been at the helm. So that's kind of I wanted to comment a little bit on. But anyways, Glenn, Native, you guys have any questions?
Oh no, man! I was saying, Craig, I called you up about a month and a half ago because I'd seen that online just recently, and it's the same guy throwing the same spiel around.
Yeah.
You just mentioned the child sex trafficking being done covertly at an industrial scale. One of the things that you told me when we first got to know each other about a year and a half ago when I interviewed you for the movie is that you found that the United States was the #1 consumer of child porn in the world.
Yeah.
Brother, that broke my heart.
Come on.
It broke my heart to know that this country that we fought for is not the country that we fought for. Because if it was, dadgum good and well, it wouldn't be industrial scale. It'd be microcosms of it here and there, but not like it is. Good God, Craig Sawyer, I'm glad to have you as my friend, and I'm glad to be on your side, brother.
Well, I appreciate those kind words, brother, and I feel the same about you. And it is heartbreaking to learn that, man, and don't get me wrong, I still get misty-eyed when I see Old Glory dancing in a pale blue sky, man. That represents Arlington National Cemetery and Normandy and all those littered beaches with our brothers and all the sacrifice and our founding fathers. All of that floods to my mind, and so I have a great reverence. But I've learned, working in the intelligence community, I started seeing and learning so much, and that just tore my mind open. There was a guy from a foreign country that wasn't even eligible to run for president that went over in 2007. I was over in Iraq, and I saw this guy being groomed and polished up, and they're parading him around to wheel him in as president. I'm like, they call this guy Bathhouse Barry in Chicago because he practically lived in the gay bathhouse. They all know him there. It's not a secret. He's a local figure there. And I'm like, how are they making that all so quiet? And how are they dusting him off and giving him a new name and wheeling him in past all the checks and balances, all the national security background checks and all that, to install him as the most powerful man on the face of the planet? I'm like, we're in deep, dark trouble here.
Yes, sir.
And so that was an eye opener for me. And then there was a couple of guys that are legends in the intelligence community in our national security space, and they've been a part of any conflict. I've been in a lot of conflict around the world, 60 countries, and I've lived in war zones for months at a time for a couple decades now. But If there was anything happening, these guys were there, and they were the first guys that were there, and they were playing key parts on our behalf. And they started sliding me post-it notes saying, "Hey, Sawman, go research this." And I got online and started watching and listening, and I was horrified. And I was staying up all night long watching and consuming and going, "Oh my gosh, everybody that I know and love has been lied to. We've all been deceived very, very badly on a lot of key issues that we think are truth, and it's not." So what does that mean? And for the first several years, I ran around shaking my friends and family and telling them, "Hey, here's how it really is." And they're like, "Huh?" They couldn't get there. Now, from 2007 to now, all these things, almost all of them, have been demonstrated and are readily apparent, so people understand that. That's common conversation. But back then, it was to a lot of people. They're like, "Huh?" And so, yeah, we there's a lot of deceit to overcome, and I don't think that's for our good. If you love somebody, you want to know the truth. Truth is love.
Well, the reason I asked you that question is because I think there's four corners here of examples of the militia, if you will, of the United States. Now, it's not organized. We're not an organized militia, but the Bible talks about the body of Christ having different parts, and no one part is more important than the other. And what you've got is four corners here doing different work. And I know from my own experience, but I also know from talking to each one of you guys. Each one of you guys are personal friends of mine, that it's not been easy. And when you felt called to do this, you went all in. I've got old Uncle Tonto right up above me, the sexy one, the good looking one right up there above me, that works his dadgum fingers to the bone. Y'all?
Show me those fingers. So.
Yeah. Okay, see, and he's
already man's hands right there
too, and that's what they look like. This dude is on a mission every day to change the biggest tire today that he didn't change yesterday. Working hard, and comes back and does this show and gets his truth out. And he's all day long posting truth. Steve, you lost and left your job and decided to pursue this on a full-time basis. Yep. And it was tough. I know, because I spoke to you about it. And you're giving it your all. Craig, you've got an organization pulling children out of sex trafficking, arresting pedophiles, doing investigations, and you don't have any big government grants.
Nope.
You don't have a paycheck coming from it. You don't have a wealthy uncle throwing money at you. This is done grassroots. My dumb butt thinks he's a country music singer and made a movie and got a foundation putting exoskeletons on paralyzed veterans. I'm broke. This stuff is not easy. And the reason we're here tonight is, Craig, I wanted to honor you with these two gentlemen. I almost called you boys. These two gentlemen up here that have got a huge following that may or may not know about Craig Sawyer. And Maurice, I saw that you just posted the link up. Can you tell us real quick about that, brother? And I appreciate that little segue into that.
Well, the link itself is to Craig's website here. It is Veterans for Child Rescue. It's the donate page, and that's the link that I'd put up to it, because I think one of the best ways that we can contribute to the causes that we believe in is by voting with your dollar. And there's a lot of companies out there, there's a lot of corporations that are always saying that they're doing stuff. And one of the reasons that I was excited to have you on tonight, Craig, was because you actually have arrests. You guys have been actually researching. I mean, despite your incredible history, rather than just retiring and pulling back and saying, okay, I've had a great career, I'm going to go off into the sunset. You decided to get back into the fight and fight for the country. And I saw a level of dedication that is unique in today's day and age, and coming back and fighting in this way. So you guys, it's vets, the number 4, childrescue.org/donate. You can donate to his cause there, and it's all of our causes, because the future of America is our children, and if we don't protect our children in any way, I mean, like Craig was saying earlier, there is an industrial government effort to continue this and to keep it going. So just going out every 4 years and voting for the president isn't going to fix the problem. It's actually going to be people like Craig down here, who's putting in the work and needs not just your moral support, but some financial support as well. So if you can, please, whatever it may be, donate to the cause, and we can hopefully start to turn this around. It starts here. It starts with somebody like Craig. I mean, obviously you've already put in a ton of work, but if you're just hearing about Craig tonight and you got an extra $5, $10, $15, put it in, and it's gonna help significantly. We got 2,500 people watching right now, and I would greatly appreciate it, and I know Craig would as well. So thank you, Craig, for just joining us tonight. We still have plenty of time to go over.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because you got a lot that has been going on recently. I would like you to tell the people a little bit about the operations that you have already done, the operations that have ended in convictions, because I saw earlier that you have, over 30 arrests and with 100% conviction rate. Is that right?
Yeah. Now there's one who was not convicted because he was a high-level cartel, and he was extradited. He was sent back to Mexico, and I don't know what deal was made there. He's guilty, but they weren't going to try him here. So I don't know. I don't think that he got away, but they didn't try him here. So I still think that's 100% conviction rate, because that's, he didn't escape or get away. I mean, he stood before the judge in Idaho, Bonners Ferry, Idaho, made that decision. So I'm sure that judge is proud of his decision and stands behind that and is ready to stand accountable for sending that guy out of the country instead of convicting him there. I'm sure there's a good reason for it. I wasn't in that meeting, so I don't know what it is, but we're grateful for the DAs that prosecute and the prosecuting attorneys, because let's face it, guys, George Soros is allowed to fund the campaigns of DAs, attorneys general, and judges with the agreement that if he gets them in those elected seats, and a lot of those are elected seats, that they will not prosecute child sex trafficking crimes. Isn't that bizarre? I mean, that's not my observation or opinion. That's been discussed live on C-SPAN in open congressional session. They talk about it. They all know that Soros funds DAs and judges not to prosecute child traffickers and child rapists, and that he gets those judges in, and yet they remain. I've heard of no effort to correct that. What a glaring conflict of interest. I mean, it should be highly illegal. I'm sure it is highly illegal. So who's cleaning up our justice system? You know what I mean? Huh. That's something I'd like to have helped Dan Bongino with. I met him once, and I don't know if he'd even remember me. So it was at NRA show in Atlanta years ago. But great chat. We were both about to go on interviews there, but I believe in Dan, and I think he would fix things if allowed. And if you see him tensing up his face or stepping down from a position, in my opinion, it's probably because he's not allowed to do what he knows he needs to do.
Yeah.
What's Kash Patel doing? When my friends asked me, because here I was, a national security whistleblower in the Federal Air Marshal Service against a high-level SES level exec from the FBI when I was there. I blew the whistle on him for gross mismanagement. They fired him for gross mismanagement and retaliation after he retaliated against my family, used terror tactics against my wife and kids when he would send me out of town. So I'm used to dealing with scumbags who abuse their authority. And I witnessed what the federal government does, the SES level executive branch from all agencies. They circle the wagons. When one of theirs gets exposed, they circle the wagons around unless they all get caught and seen. And so they tried to salvage this guy. Of course, he was so screwed up, none of them ended up wanting him. They fired him anyway. But I saw that. And so I wrote out an entire plan on how to purge any key agency, any federal agency of its corruption, a systematic plan that I know from witnessing it on the inside would work. Don't listen to a SEAL Team 6 operator that's been all over the world and been on the inside of the corruption, seeing what's going on inside of the SES branch and seeing them protect their corruption when caught red-handed. Don't listen to me, ignore my contacts and my plan, right? So I haven't had a number of people around Cash Patel saying, yeah, I'll get you a meeting with him. I'll get you a meeting with Dan. I'm like, okay, I've got the plan. I've run the plan past directors of different agencies, admirals, generals, and saying, is this a weak plan or is it a strong plan? Like I believe they're like, no, that's a solid plan, Sawman, that would absolutely work. But this was back when Biden was still and Obama was still at the wheel. They're like, good luck finding someone to carry it out. Well, now when Trump got in, I'm like, hey, let's go. I got the plan. Let's purge the FBI of its corruption. Let's purge the CIA of its corruption. And let's have them recruited to purge the rest of the swamp, drain the rest of the swamp. It isn't happening. And that gives me a very, very deep concern over what to expect, because they would have needed to get busy at that real quick. You can't fix anything with an FBI that's saturated with corruption.
Well, how long did it take for a bunch of J6ers to be arrested when Biden took office?
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's excuses at this point. And I wish I knew the reason for that. I sat down and had dinner with Cash Patel a couple of years ago. We were in Ohio doing a rally for Bernie Moreno that was running for Congress. And I got to know the guy, liked him. I'm sorely disappointed, though. It feels like he's been compromised.
Yeah, it feels like it's all been compromised and they're not going to fix it. Again, just practically speaking, having worked with a lot of really shining stars. I mean, Admiral Leighton Smith, I was blessed to know him and work closely with him. I won't say in what capacity in case that's still sensitive, but national hero all the way back from the Vietnam era and leader. And, I learned a lot from these guys. And, I see that when those guys get too high ranking, man, they don't fit in with the swamp. The weaklings that sold their souls for high ranking positions don't like the men of integrity, the real leaders whose men would do anything for them. They don't like those guys because those guys are a problem because they'll hold a straight line. They work on the merit system. And those who circumvented the merit system to suck up and move up can't compete against that. So they all conspire against the strong problem solvers. And that's why DC is such a swamp. It's an inbred, bureaucratic weasel haven. And that needs to change.
That's the most generous way to put it, but yes, I agree.
Are we on cue tonight? Because I want to use curse words. Okay. Anyways, so me and Maurice, we talk about this all the time, the uniparty deep state and how interwebbed all of these organizations are together, and they protect their own, exactly what you just stated tonight. A lot of people are very concerned right now, and a lot of people are blackpilling because they've expected the second Trump administration to come in with like the hammer of justice. Remember Elon Musk with the chainsaw at what was it, CPAC, and like, oh, dude, Doge uncovered so much fraud. We have Nick Shirley out there in Minnesota discovering the Leering centers, with hundreds of billions of dollars, and nothing is happening. And people are like, more and more people are like, WTF over. What is going on? Why are we not prosecuting these people? And I think like that there has to be a precipice somewhere, right? Somewhere where people are just like, there is just so much fraud and so much degeneracy and sex trafficking and all of this going on. Where do we turn the tide on this evil that's happening in this country? And I generally do not have an answer. I don't know what it is. But like you stated that you spoke with Dan Bongino, and I was swatted actually in April of this past year because of some statements I made online against the transgender movement and how it's it's infiltrating our youth, and it's really bad. And I reached out to Dan personally, and he wrote back to me. So a lot of people that are going against Dan Bongino and what he's doing, I only speak to people that I know personally and that I've dealt with. And I do agree with you. I think Dan Bongino is a great patriot to this country. The stuff that people talk about, they do not know what's going on behind the scenes, behind closed doors, these backdoor meetings. And maybe the deep state was just so enthralled, and Dan is just a man of integrity that he wants to bring down the deep state, and he's just hitting roadblocks, and he can't accomplish the mission that he wants to do.
If I had to bet, that's what I would bet on. That's what it seems like from my perspective.
And I think you were talking about the interview, I think, a while ago, Craig, when Bongino and Patel were on live talking about Epstein. And when he looked directly in the camera, Dan Bongino looked directly in the camera, looked like a deer in the headlights, saying, yeah, he absolutely killed himself. I saw the evidence. That didn't look like the Dan Bongino I'd ever seen. So I tend to agree with you. I think there's a reason, and that reason being the hands are tied. Why waste your time any longer? Let's go to plan B.
Well, that's the thing. We're left to speculate because so many things are going unsaid. Why are we not being told some of that? Obviously, the American people are passionate about so many issues that don't get talked about on the news, and the president does not talk about. Man, there's a list of probably 30 things he should say from the microphone at some point that he's never addressed, and it's weird. It's a creepy world that we're living in. When we're watching what's going on, we're fighting against evil, and then we there's a guy that gets up on TV and he says something, it's the best it's ever been, and it's going to be this, and like, okay, appreciate the Doge thing. That was a great financial
idea,
hamstringing the financiering of the corruption. But where are the arrests, man? Where we got George Soros, Hillary Clinton still parading around at large, right? Making war against Barack Hussein Obama, making war against our people right here in the continental United States. Nobody's touching them. It's like they have impunity. What planet am I waking up on every day? Because I'm just like, okay, it's not going to get fixed. If nothing, and none of these people have been arrested yet. We're not being told about a lot of these situations that we all know and are dealing with. Then it seems like it's very rigged and we're very hosed.
That's probably the best way to put it. And you know, I've talked to a lot of people over the past couple of months about this, and I've shared my my own frustrations on this podcast, because it sure seemed like after they tried to assassinate Trump, and I remember him getting up and yelling, fight, fight, fight. And, you know, teaming together with Elon Musk, they were talking about that this is going to be our 1776 revolution style political, you know, I mean, that's what was sold in the campaign.
Sounded so good, didn't it?
It really did. No tax on overtime. This is where we're going to defund the IRS and the ATF, and we're going to prosecute Fauci, and we're going to go after the deep state. And I believed it mostly because of, I mean, just the miracle that Trump had, you know, had a bullet graze his ear, and it was just so close to him being taken out. And I thought with that kind of a spirit and with that, I mean, with that in mind, he should, and it being his last term, there's no way that he would kind of pussyfoot around like he did in his first term. You know, like try to play footsie with these people and be nice and win them over, and you know, try to win the media, or try to win favor over the media. I didn't expect this revert back to 2016 Trump, right? I didn't expect it at all, and it sure feels that way. It really feels in a lot of ways that you know, he wants to make some good trade deals with other countries, and then all of a sudden tonight we might be bombing Iran, and we're still funding Ukraine, and we're still funding Israel, and I mean, how many other countries are we still giving aid to where I mean, the American people wanted to end all of that. And focus here at home, and it's just been completely overlooked.
I think Pam Bondi, someone, Diddy Girl said it in the comments, Pam needs to go. I think Pam Bondi is in my opinion, she does need to be fired. I mean, put someone in that wants to do something. Like me, I would personally, I would open up a federal investigation to all 535 members of Congress, a criminal investigation. I'm like so hell bent on like trying to change this country. I would send so many people to CCOT. Like I don't know. I think I'm just venting like a lot of frustration on what people have experienced. They thought this would be the hammer drop. Like we are going to put a massive dent in the deep state. We're going to get rid of the IRS. We're going to have the External Revenue Service. Americans won't have to pay taxes again. Trump's going to be on Mount Rushmore for all he's going to do for this country. But it's so lackluster. I don't know what's going on.
It looks like they're just appeasing us, just enough to keep give us bread and circuses and we will not revolt, right?
Javoon, oh, I love it.
So here's something that I want to introduce into this conversation is the two kingdoms that are actually at war.
Yeah.
People talk about the uniparty. That's a big shift to get to realize, my God, they're all kind of in on it together. Well, what unifies them? What is it? They don't serve us, the American people. Who do they serve? What is it really about? So the guy, he was from HSI, that told me when we were sitting there, we were burning cigars in a friend's backyard. He was from MI6. And we were several of us were, and we're just catching up, and it was laid back time. It was a beautiful night. And we're just talking about things. And one of them started telling me about the child trafficking there. I was very upset by it. I felt like, I don't know if you've ever had when somebody come up to you and just get in your face and start spitting and slapping and punching at you. You're like, okay, wrong answer. You're about to take a beating. That's how I felt about whatever this evil was that came to our state, our hometown. And I felt very, very affronted and invaded by it. So, but the one guy said, yeah, I appreciate your passion, Craig. I see you're getting spun up to go combat this. He goes, but at the highest level, it's a spiritual crime. It's a spiritually motivated crime. What these people are into, you're going to have to study that and understand what they're into. It's weird and it's creepy, but it's very real to them. And whether or not you believe it, they do enjoy a spiritual protection. So the way that is going to translate to you is after years, you're going to find out, you're not ever going to quite find out what you're looking for. You're not going to quite track down who you're looking for. You're going to be confounded and frustrated. And there's going to be deals made and you're going to keep chasing your tail. And so he said, you're going to have to penetrate that spiritually. That's a spiritual warfare on the children that they're carrying out. That's how and why they get and keep their positions of wealth and power, all those scumbags. That's what you're up against.
Right.
And those that are powerful enough in this universe to allow them the access to have that. And I knew they were right, but I knew that I wasn't that spiritual guy. My dad would have been, but my dad had already passed on. I'm like, man, I'm a kinetic warrior, man, physically with, belt-fed machine guns and sniper rifles and hand-to-hand and
violence of action.
Dude, I got really good at that. I'm grateful for all the training and the teammates that I got to share time and operate with. But this isn't that kind of fight. This is a higher level thing. And so now we're growing spiritually. Now we pray as we go and investigate and interview people, put the drones up and the trail cams and all the high-tech tools that we utilize in our operations, and doors open and things happen that seem impossible in the natural realm. So that is a whole new way to operate. So if you look back in the Bible, you got Joshua and King David and so many of these others that are dealing in real time with that level of conflict and spiritual assistance. That's what I was told essentially we were up against. And so we're trying to grow into that. So we're handling the physical, the kinetic, the legal part of it, taking down the predators, arresting them, putting them in prison, putting the physical cuffs on them, taking them off the street, putting them in prison to rape no more. But there's more to it that whether or not you get to catch somebody, we don't know how much influence over the physical realm the practical criminality that the spirit realm has, but we're trying to learn and operate in that space, and that's fascinating. It's a strange and different way to make war, but it's not new. It's ancient. It's the way it's always has been.
Well, Craig, you and I have had this conversation before, and if you dig down deep into this rabbit hole, you're going to find the names of Baal and Baphomet and those kind of things, and you think, well, that's
and it's not even deep. It's right there. I mean, you don't have to research for 5 minutes before that starts coming up.
Yeah, and so we're talking about the old little G gods, but really what that is the fallen ones, and they're still being worshipped today. And what's crazy is they're still being worshipped in a lot of the same ways that they were 4,000 years ago. We don't see it, but it's there. And Craig, you've seen some of the results of that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, one of the hardest thing, guys, in our operations for me has been hearing the stories of the survivors. So we have a large number of people that have been put through horrible abuses in their childhood from different cult groups and covens and abusers. And so we learn about all the spirituality from what they have gone through. Some of these people have been through quite a bit of healing, quite a bit of therapy, and are quite well healed and successful and highly educated now, so they can articulate very clearly what they went through in their childhood. And it's not anything that children should be subjected to, the most unspeakable tortures and cruelty. But that's what it's about. That the people, the Jeffrey Epsteins, the Ghislaine Maxwells, the Harvey Weinsteins, the Diddy parties. The reason there's such dark debauchery there is not because people just happen to be a little weird. They have those positions of power and authority and wealth because they're part of a club. And what's the deep, dark secret in the club? It's what they do to children for that access and for that privilege. So a lot of people are like, well, how can people be so perverted to rape children? It's not that they're necessarily attracted to children. There are plenty of people that are sick in their minds and they're sexually attracted to a child. But what we're talking about globally, the secret societies that John F. Kennedy warned us about are they're spiritually motivated. That's why they're so secret. That's why they don't dare tell you what they're really up to. And that's the children are the common thread through any major global crime network. Now they've all figured that out, and they're all work deals to get what they want. So you're just dealing with weak charactered people, and with weak morals, and they'll do anything to get what they want. And so what I heard a saying once, if you're afraid of strong men, wait till you see what weak men are capable of. And I think that's what people need to consider here. That's the real evil, what weak men are capable of and what they do constantly to children for what they want, that they can't earn with the merit system. They can't work. They're not sharp enough and clever enough and hardworking enough, talented enough to get the wealth and power they want. So they're like, I'll do those horrible things to children. I want to be in the club. I want that position. I want that title. And that's what we've been learning. So there are rituals that are standardized that you'll hear different survivors repeat to you, that you're like, oh my God, I heard that in another state from another person from another time. But in some of these groups, these rituals are standardized, and it's all meant to cause that child to grow up, if they have any spiritual inclination at all, to be a Satanist. And that's just one of the aspects of what we hear is common in all of them. So it's just very dark, deranged, very soul shaking, very disturbing. So that's kind of what we've learned from that, Glenn, and that's what the American populace largely don't know. I mean, I didn't know about that until we started getting in there. And I'll look, I'm a hardened combat veteran, and it was deeply painful for me to learn.
And let's be truthful, they shouldn't have to know that. but it's there. Need to be aware of it. Steve and Maurice, I want to thank you for doing this show tonight. Craig and I have done a few shows together. My online presence is not what y'all's is. So I appreciate you doing that. And I want to tell your public, the ones that are watching tonight, this man here and his team go into this kind of crap so we don't have to. You hear what I'm saying? They go into this kind of crap so we don't have to. Self-funded, donations come in from some people that are regular, I'm sure, but they need new people to know about it too. And that's why I wanted to bring him on tonight, to give you 5,000-10,000 opportunities for new people to find out who Veterans for Child Rescue is and who Craig the Sawman Sawyer is. Besides being my friend and big, and I'm glad I'm better looking than he is, but besides being my friend, he's an absolute monster with a heart for Jesus. And please go to vets4childrescue.org/donate. That's vets, VETS, 4childrescue/donate, and help these guys on their missions. And Craig, you've got a mission that you've just been on recently, and I'm sure we can't talk about that yet, but can you talk about some of the missions that you've done in the past and how they were done and the successes that took place? Is that okay?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Our first mission was in Guilford, Connecticut. We were filming ContraLand, our documentary. And one of the guys that came in was a federal agent. And for about 2 seconds, all the law enforcement looked around the room when he said, yeah, because they had him cuffed up. We're searching him and we're all still in the room. This has just happened. And that some of the other agents were going through his vehicle and saw Ear Pro in there, hearing protection. I said, you see Ear Pro in your vehicle. They're listening through the mic and they're like, are you a shooter? And he said, yeah, I'm an agent. And they said, excuse me? He goes, yeah, I'm a federal agent. They looked around the room and like, okay. They continued searching him. And it's like, yeah, wrong answer. So I'd say that not as any personal thing against him, love the sin or hate the sin. So I'm not here to grind any one predator's nose in it. I hope he changes his life and becomes a new and better person. But I see that so many people feel like those that have a certain title or position or status should get away with whatever. And I don't subscribe to that. We've never subscribed to that. We're not out to get any demographic. We're just out to stop the harm to children. We don't care who you are. We don't care if you're cartel or if you're Republican or Democrat or Christian or Muslim or what ISIS, or we don't care who you are. If you're out to harm, and we don't care if you're the sheriff's brother or a high-level LDS church elder, is another one we've arrested, came straight after church to rape 2 girls. We don't care. We're going to arrest you and put you in prison to think about what you've done and hopefully get your heart right and put a stop to your harm to children. Because this is a serial predation. These guys, anybody that works the prison system or whatever, they'll tell you these people don't tend to be rehabilitated. This is, even murderers see the devil in a pedophile, and they'll kill them in prison. So that's why they generally can't put them in general population. They put them in a special pervert cell with themselves. And that's the only way that they can survive, because that there's something unhinged and wrong there. I think it's demonic, but that's a whole different subject.
I think that's probably it's important to point that out, because a lot of people, at least our society today, with the DAs and prosecutors and just with the general sentiment that, we shouldn't be putting these people to death. I will never understand why we've gone lenient on child abuse. I guess it makes sense when you understand that, that there's operations in allowing these trafficking of children to happen. I mean, it was reported in the last 5 years when Biden was in office, and was it 500,000 children were trafficked through the border? that went basically unaccounted for,
Yep.
or they were being trafficked into known sex slave rings. Have you reached out to the FBI at all, or any of our government agencies, or have they reached out to you or worked with you in any way, shape, or form in order to find these 500,000 children that were just brought in and trafficked into our country?
Yeah, now the FBI usually have at least some agents on our operations. So our joint sting operations usually involve federal, state, and local law enforcement, up to 9 agencies at a time, usually less, 3, 4, 5 agencies. And we've had some of our members part of a very deliberate operation identifying where the children have gone from the Biden administration. So we're grateful to have a part in that. We're grateful that that's being done. But due to the scale of what's going on, man, well, there's a lot more. We have entire agencies for crimes that are much smaller than child trafficking in the United States. So again, where's the will? Where's the situational awareness and the savvy of President Trump? He's really great at apparently at business. Well, if you want to be effective, you do what works. Well, what are we doing to break the back of a massive global crime ring that's making war on our children at industrial scale right here? There needs to be a lot greater effort. And again, I celebrate the arrest, man. You've got HSI, U.S. Marshal Service, FBI making some good busts and arrests. Thank you guys, sincerely. That's beautiful. But nationally, I just see where there's so much more that really is required. Otherwise, it's going to be the same as it was when the next president comes in, and they're going to open the borders back up, and it's just going to be devastating to the children, even just like it was under Biden, or even worse.
Greg,
now all we can.
I agree with that. I do feel that, like, if something isn't done now and the borders open again, it's essentially open for business again. And I hate to be crass by saying that, but that's essentially what it is. And a lot of these people, we're talking about ritualism, and it's almost like they're in a blackmail cult where they get pinned down in this act. So now whatever lobbyists or NGOs, they have this on them so they can get whatever the uniparty wants to pass, right? But that's you brought
exactly
up about grassroots movements, and I think that's the most important thing of this entire segment tonight is the people, the local people that want to do good, and the word of mouth and getting other people involved. I'm part of an organization called the Rhino Removal Project. I'm sure you understand what a rhino is, a Republican in name only. And we have a target list that we're trying to go after and on the federal congressional level. But if people are you open for candidates to join your organization to help assist? Because I feel like it's strengthening numbers. And if it's just like you and a couple other guys, I think you just need this is something that's so important, and I think that it needs to change in this country, because I think if we handle the child trafficking so much more, that it can make so much of an impact in this country to our politicians, especially. I think they're the ones that are. I don't want to say they're all involved, but I think there's some sort of web attachment to these pedophile rings that are keeping them held to what they can vote and pass and accomplish with your mission.
Yeah, we're wide open to that. We'd welcome any assistance and alliance. You would have to, of course, see obviously if it's a good fit, because there's a lot of considerations with all these arrangements. But man, we're wide open to it. The awareness and the unity needs to increase. The bad guys are coordinated. Shame on us if we don't coordinate and link arms and multiply our efforts by the power of teamwork.
You mentioned an area of Texas, and I'm pretty close to that, so I will send you a message. I don't know where you live, but
I grew up across from the Woodlands, right there, Spring Conroe, the Woodlands area. That's home.
Well, hey,
we're like an hour.
I'll be down in Texas on the 23rd of March.
Okay.
With Steve.
We're gonna have lunch.
So.
Flying to Texas tomorrow for something else. A bunch of us guys coordinating on something pretty cool. But
Fantastic. I'll send you my my number on
All
DM.
right, thank you, brother. I look forward to that. And I've enjoyed this chat, man. I hope this resonates with people and it gets them thinking. You know, we the people have the power to have our will asserted if only we will just stand up and use it. And I think a lot of what's psychologically perpetrated against us with this 5th generation warfare is the perception that we don't have the power to change it. How convenient for our opposition if we take a knee and don't even step foot on the battlefield or the game field, however you want to look at it. We have the power. That's the truth. That's the wake-up call. That's the encouragement. That's the good news. We have the power if only we will just stand up and utilize it. But we have to be coordinated to make it hurt, make it stick. So let's do that every way we can.
Well, I think it's the biggest challenge that we face in our country, Craig. Well, you and I've had this conversation before, is complacency. And until it affects us personally in a lot of instances, it's like, oh, that's bad, man. That's so bad. I'm glad Craig's doing something about it. Now, let me go watch TV.
Yeah.
You know, something
Human
along
nature,
that
man.
line. Yeah. And so it's time to stand up, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to stand up with people that are actually willing to get off the couch and go into the hornet's nest. And that's what Craig Sawyer does. And he does it all the time. This is not once every couple of years. This is the life that he lives. And he's doing it based on folks helping out. There's no government grants. God's in charge. God's in control. God's your supply and your demand. But it's based on the help that we can give. And so I want to tell again one more time. Vets, VETS, the number 4, childrescue.org/donate. Vets for childrescue.org/donate. Go there right now. You got another screen you can pull up. Vets for childrescue.org/donate. And if you got 5, 10, 20 bucks, if you're rich and you got $1 million, that'll fund them for a good little while. But help these guys. They're doing this every week too. There's a few that have been called, but very few that are even chosen to get involved and do this kind of stuff. And these guys are here, and these guys are the ones that are doing it.
I just wanted to say, and thank you for that, Glenn. Bless you, brother. That was awesome. Is some of the cases that we're investigating, I won't say locations, but one of them was exposing hundreds of billions of dollars in real estate loan fraud. And that's how they do their money laundering. This is BRICS nations money. And they're also bringing in municipal bonds from BRICS nations to for the payoffs, the side deals for the corrupt politicians that they install. And another location where there's systematic, this is ongoing for a long time, child torture and trauma in a trafficking, institutional trafficking network. And another location where there's 200 children a month moving through the location, and the federal law enforcement is compromised there. And there's 200 children a month coming through just one port. There's multiple ports. And so that needs to be disrupted. So we'll report back on that when the raids and arrests and recoveries start happening by the big federal response to that. But there's big cases that we're investigating. We're like, my gosh, where are the feds on why hasn't this been broken long ago? This is not subtle, this crime trafficking ring, this child destruction ring is what it really is. Organ harvesting and things that are grotesque and atrocities. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if once they're armed with the overwhelming factual evidence of every kind, if they try brushing it under the rug. Of course, we won't allow that to happen. We'll go loud with the media, and we've got all the backstops to do that. So we look forward to that breaking one way or another. So
Guys, I'm sorry to keep sticking my nose in, but I got one more question, Craig.
Okay.
If there's some folks out here that have the background that would like to find out about getting involved, either being part of a team or being part of an information source or that kind of thing, is there an easy way for somebody to get in contact with you?
Website?
Yeah, our website has a link for that as a portal for law enforcement and for other
that's
people.
forchildrescue.org. It's also V4CR, isn't it?
Yes, sir. That's the short version.
So V4CR.org as well.
Just
So
like
right at the
what's
top
on
right
the
here.
app, mate. V4CR.org.
You can see right at the top right here, you got get involved, report trafficking, donate, donor portal, volunteer, right, local officials.
Awesome.
You know, there's I mean, it's step-by-step stuff that it kind of needs to take place here. And I know that you have an X as well, Craig. So I would
it's been disabled. So
oh really?
Yeah. Twitter deleted my account with 130,000 followers when they deleted Trump's account way back then. And then since then, even after Musk is at the wheel, they keep just deleting and disabling my account. So I can't post anything on X and have anybody see it. There's one guy that sees that, like the fourth account that I have on X. So I've got to start a new account under a new phone number, apparently, to get the chains off and get any of our arrests and the factual evidence to the people. So very, very ugly to see X shadow banning patriots and law enforcement doing real work.
I agree with that. Well, when you do get that, because I tagged an account earlier and it was Real Craig Sawyer, 13,000 followers. I don't know if this is an account you're using currently.
No, it got seized up. What do they call it? It's disabled. They did that a couple months ago.
Okay.
So I can't use it. I can't even access it to ask them why they disabled the account.
Yeah, that's weird because it looks like it's still active, but that's unfortunate. Whenever you do create an X, I mean, I would love to do everything in my power to help spread whatever kind of media or update or
absolutely
anything you want to share. You know, I would reshare it.
Still got about 180,000 on Facebook. Craig Sawman Sawyer on Facebook for anybody that's still on there. You know, LinkedIn, got a pretty good following on LinkedIn.
Well, whenever you get hooked up on X, we're gonna get a good close to 500 followers, and we're gonna get you up there, man. This is too important to let you get discouraged on X because I'll write Elon Musk. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have DMs. You know, but this is something that's extremely important, and I'm like, I want to support you as best as I can, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that sincerely. So, you know, together we'll get it done, man. The children are worthy. Look, we've all been children. It's not like a strange anomaly that we have to kind of strain to relate to. None of us wanted to be beaten or tortured or abused or raped when we were little children, you know? So it's something that should resonate with everybody, like help us in some way. Everybody can do something. That's the good news is we're all empowered to do something, you know, here, even if you just buy merch.
That's strong wisdom right there, man. Everybody can do something.
Yeah.
Just do it.
And it feels good to do it. You know, you never know what children you're going to help spare because every predator, they say, according to the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, every predator harms in their lifetime, unless they get caught, an average of 70 children each. They don't tend to stop.
Oh my God.
So, and some of them, it's hundreds of children.
Wow.
And because they like to be in positions of access. They want to be coaches and teachers and Sunday school teachers and scout leaders. And, you know, they abuse those positions because they're there for the kids. Yep. So it's hundreds if nobody catches them. So
can I tell a quick story? Do we have time, guys? Are we running low on time?
No, I mean, I'll keep this running as long as you guys want to go up. It's all up to Craig right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Craig, I want to tell you a quick story because I don't think
Okay.
I've told you this. But you've told me that these things come in all shapes and sizes. These predators come in all shapes and sizes, people that you wouldn't even expect. I've got a very personal connection to one that I didn't know in my lifetime. So I hired a gentleman in 1992, a couple of cowboys that were ropers from Colorado, 1992. And back in that day, my dad and I, we had a Bible study at our work every Wednesday. Didn't matter if we had 3 guys working or if we had 35. 3 different shifts. Every Wednesday, we'd host a Bible study. Probably led 200 or 300 men to the Lord over a period of 10 years. I don't know. It was a bunch. And these 2 cowboys were ones of them that accepted Christ. And one of them went on to become a cowboy preacher. Started his own church. Had a big rodeo arena on his land, and it grew to hundreds of people. And I knew him very well. He was a friend of mine. I just found out a year ago, this is back in Oklahoma, that he'd been arrested and is now in prison for abusing 12-year-old girls. So several of them, 4 or 5 12-year-old girls. Wow. And I tell you this because if you'd have bet me $1 million that he was the one and told me that, I'd have said no way.
Yeah.
But it happens. Talk to me real quick, Greg. Do you believe a lot of the folks that you've arrested were that way from childhood or very young, or they came into it at a later time? Do you have any idea?
A lot of them are trauma survivors. Hurting people tend to turn around and hurt other people. That's a disappointing trend that we're learning in our investigations. And you'll see me in ContraLand. I'll interview these guys and out of genuine curiosity, like what got you off of, let's say, a bombshell with a healthy, all the features that make guys attracted to a healthy mate that'll give him strong offspring, genetically, naturally. What got you all the way down to a little stick figure child that's got none of those features? It's not natural. What changed you? And they'll say porn. I started watching porn, and then a little wasn't enough, and then it had to be a little bit more strange. And a friend of me sent me a lady dressed up like a kid, and then years later, here I am getting arrested and going to prison. So porn is not everybody may understand it yet, but it's like any other addiction. It starts one way, and your mind gets numb to it. And then it takes a more and more strange aspect of it, and it gets really weird. It gets down like gruesome and gory and despicable. And it's a slow creep, and guys slide into it without catching themselves. And it's an insidious thing that happens. It's horrible. It's evil. You don't look at a beautiful woman and go, that's evil. But you have to look at the trend of what happens over time and where people end up, right? I'm sure if somebody takes their first puff of meth, they probably think they feel euphoric. They probably don't feel like, yeah, this is evil. They probably feel this is awesome, just like a bombshell woman. Like, that's awesome. But then when you abuse it and you follow that, inevitably you end up in sickness and death. It's dysfunction. So anyway, that's what has to happen.
Denise Townsend just sent a message. Said, look for the signs. They're there. Could you educate us that may not know? What's to look for in your area?
Oh, man. Well, it depends on how the child's being trafficked, but look for any children that don't appear to match or belong to the adults that are with them. Children that don't seem to be well cared for or particularly morose in their countenance. Some of the young girls that are making a lot of money have multiple phones and things that don't, very expensive clothing that doesn't match everything else about who she is. And anytime you're in public, if a child's parents won't allow the child to answer for themselves, like, what do you want, sweetie? If they're getting ice cream or something, dad's like, don't talk to her. She can only have this or whatever. There's this overbearing, controlling countenance of the trafficker. And you can, that's pretty overt to see the level of control that they have to have. anytime you see a child may appear drugged and not able to speak or handle themselves, that kind of thing. And obviously the cell phones, man, that's the biggest killing fields, if you will, where the predators stalk them on Roblox, all these other apps. A child thinks they're playing with another child, but are really another creepy adult male stalking them, and can sometimes geolocate the child and find the child that way, covertly film the child when the child doesn't know that app or has that feature. And there's a lot of problems with the technology. So get in there and find out who your child's dealing with. Go on our website, see some of the problem apps, and check your child's phone and make sure they're safe. Invade their space a little bit to make sure they survive.
Yeah, you're not their friend, you're their parent.
Yeah.
And there is a distinction there. We've gotten away from that in the last 20 or 30 years. But I think it's time to make parenting great again. MPGA, how do you Mapuga? It's a Mapuga.
If you lose a child to this, don't wait until you have to look back afterward and go, what would I have given to spare my little one? Would I have invaded her privacy or his privacy to make sure he lived, make sure he was okay? Yes, you would. So do it now before you have to look back and regret.
Wow, that was powerful. Wow. Craig, I personally and Maurice would probably say the same thing. We want to thank you for coming on this show. And it's actually an honor and a privilege because we preach about this all the time, the innocence of children and our future, as a country and honestly, as a planet, that we need to bring God-fearing children onto this earth and have a stable home. And, the nuclear family, we kind of discussed that a lot and things like that. And these are the tough conversations that we need to have, because in order to get our country back to where it's supposed to be, we need to have fighters in the field out there, combating this evil, because Jesus, he cracked the whips against the bankers. He flipped tables. So we need to be empowered as Christians, as Christian men. We need to take back our country. It's not the people in Washington, D.C. that's going to take back our country. It's
clearly not. Yep.
Everybody here. Between us, grassroots organizations, build it back from the ground up, not from the top down. And that's my opinion.
Couldn't agree more, brother. Well said. And I thank you guys. I think this is a good chat, and I hope it resonates and leads to more children being spared ultimately. Feels like it's well worth doing.
As always, gentlemen, it's an honor to be on the same screen with you. Appreciate you having me and letting me be a part of it.
You're the best looking one, Glenn.
I know that was difficult for you to say, but it is what it is.
I feel a little left behind because all you guys have beards. They were talking about your guys' beards earlier, and I just have this little bit of scruff here. But hey, I'm being Native American. It took me until I was 30 to be able to grow this little bit. So I'm all proud of this. And he comes over here with his. I mean, you got like a sculpted jawline here. I saved a comment earlier for you, Craig, just so I could pull it up for you. But Buckles here said his jawline has more angles than a geometry test. Wasn't into silver foxes before. But.
That's funny.
Really?
Well,
oh my God,
man, you never know what you're going to get. Well, Maurice, look, I just danced in my first powwow a couple months back. I was with my daughter, and we got our Native American card from the Cherokee Nation. And so we're Cherokee Creek and Catawba.
Brother,
so
I didn't know we might be related. I got a little Cherokee blood in me too.
See there? Come on.
Yeah.
That warrior runs deep. So
let me give you the only Cherokee I know is Kama. No, let's see. Sio Anidawe. And that means hello, little man. Why do you think I know that one?
Oh man. Hey, we love you just the way you are, brother.
Wow. I'm Swinomish by blood. It's up here in the Pacific Northwest, up in Washington State, and I don't I'm getting I'm actually trying to get a little bit more involved with the tribe, but for the most part, a lot of the reservations and tribal elders, a lot of it's just like miniature governments. They're just as corrupt as any other government entity. So I've kind of been trying to build something separate, and I mean, this is why we started the Patriots Prayer Network and have been able to get in contact with Glenn, who joined the network and is, he's doing his own podcast on the network. I have a feeling that it's going to have to be done outside of these institutions, just like Steve was saying, building it from the ground up and starting your own. And just as you did with your foundations of Veterans for Child Rescue. I mean, these are the types of organizations that I want to be a part of and that I want to help promote. It's not the institutions that have been there and have kind of been, I guess, just extracting from the system and not really correcting the misdeeds of our society that, and I mean, they've just been allowed to thrive like crazy. So I do want to commend you again. One, thank you for your service previously and what you're doing now with Veterans for Child Rescue. It's just one of those organizations that you definitely need more awareness, and it is really an honor to have you on, and I want to thank you for coming on today. So I hope that I can help spread the word and we can get you some more attention and hopefully you can save some more kids.
Yeah, man, right on. You already have helped, and so God bless you guys. I appreciate it, man.
Before we go, I want to thank Karen. I just donated a monthly donation, so it's what it's all about.
Wow, thank you
so much.
Thank you, then, Karen. Everybody that supports and prayers, man, please pray for our nation, pray for the children, pray for our team, pray for this podcast. I mean, it is a war. Everything's contested now. You can feel it. Anytime you try to do something positive, it's like running through molasses. So prayers matter. They do matter.
They do, my friend.
All right. Blessings, everybody. Good chat.
Yeah. God bless. Hey, I was going to say, before you leave,
your outro.
Before we leave, Glenn, where can people find you? Oh, you're muted.
I think I was echoing for you a while ago, so I kept it off. Real easy. Glenn Baker Band is all my social media. So YouTube channel at Glenn Baker Band, X is at Glenn Baker Band. If you want to know about the foundation and what we're doing with paralyzed veterans, it's finishthisfight.us. That's finishthisfight.us. And Steve, I got something to tell you when we go backstage. You're going to be amazed.
I'm also in contact with Josh, and we're going to go live on TikTok soon.
Woo! Yeah. You're going to love him, brother.
All righty.
And Craig, once again, could you mention your socials before you get out of here so people can find the various accounts?
Well, I think some version of Craig Sawman Sawyer on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn are about the only ones I'm getting any traction. The other ones are all shadow banned into oblivion. So
all right. Well.
Oh, and one more. E4cr.org/donate or Vets for Child Rescue. Vets the number 4, VETS the number 4, childrescue.org/donate. We're going offline. That means you can go to the next page.
Perfect. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please share this podcast. We appreciate you guys being here and lighting up the chat. I know we didn't interact with you as much, but it's not too often we get somebody like Craig on who's making a substantial difference in the world. But thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PT, and you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV, lots of cool people.
America great again. You'll
Tune in.
you a
Keep it
clown,
locked.
better know where I stand. I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My patriots the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms, fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't obeyed. My people love this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flag.